Okay, I have a question for you, Callum.
What?
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 You're gonna have me some questions, is that what you're gonna do?
This will be my 51st question to you on this show.
Oh my god. Have I got? I don't think I've got a single one right.
Yes, you got one. You got one right.
Oh. Oh.
It was
That must have been a very long time ago.
It was recently. It was,
was it?
Yeah, it was, does Theon Greyjoy smell? No, he reeks.
Oh, yes, I did get that one right, because
Yeah,
that
but
one's probably the most obvious one.
So you got 1 out of 50.
Great record.
Anyway,
Great record.
I've got a new question for you. That's wrong, actually. It's not 1 out of 50. It's 1 out of 55, because we've got the recaps as well.
Oh, yeah.
Why shouldn't the people of Dawn hold a grudge?
Because they shouldn't worry about anything, because they're just going to poison themselves. I don't know.
Because they're already used to fucking everybody.
Yeah. Less about Dawn, the better.
That's true. Hello and welcome to Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 1. We are here to start the next season of reviews, reactions, whatever you want to call them. We have full length on Patreon. We have early access to the next episode already on Patreon now. If you're watching this, you'll have episode 2 up there now. Got a new season to watch. We finished season 5 during the Advent calendar with Mother's Mercy, which outside of the Cersei Walk of Atonement, which was amazing, everything else was either absolutely terrible or it was Jon Snow. Yeah, 2019, because that was the year of the final season airing.
Yes, it was. What a time to be alive that was. And we're only, what, like 18, 17 episodes away?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's about that. It's about 23, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Regardless, we had Mother's Mercy last time, which was crap. Very bad finale. And now we start season 6 with the Red Woman. So, yeah, firstly, now that you've had time to sort of soak and have a bit of space away from Game of Thrones for a few months, what are your thoughts going into season 6 and this episode?
Oh, God. Season 5 was a bit of a disaster. There were some good episodes here and there, but overall it was a very big step down from the previous 4. So my thought process is I am hopeful that this is better. I'm not expecting it to be better than the first 4 seasons, unfortunately. And considering where we're currently at with a lot of characters and settings, there's going to be a lot in the show that I'm going to be groaning and moaning at in a very negative way. I hope there's still things that for me to latch onto, to enjoy and dissect and enjoy the overall story of certain characters that are still good. But other than that, I'm worried. I'm very worried that I think that the show is going to start spreading its disgusting wounds even further. It's going to slowly course through the overall body that is the Game of Thrones show. Well,
I've told you this before. The sort of mainstream, normie, general public's opinion of Season 6 and my opinion of Season 6 are very different. This is considered by quite a few people I know to be the best season of the show. I can probably count maybe 5 or 10 people I know of that have said that to me. So there is certainly an audience for it. I can tell you that. As for my opinion on this season, I would say it's the most overrated in the show because the first 4 seasons are actually genuinely good on the whole. And seasons 5, 7, and 8 are considered bad and are bad. Although I'd say 5 is probably more mixed than it is bad. And then this one is considered really good, and I don't think it's very good. I think it's got some highlights, but there's many, 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 many issues that I have with it. So I guess if you are a massive normie, which you aren't, I know that for a fact, you're not, you'll probably love this season. If you're like me, you probably won't. So what does that tell you about what's to come?
It's gonna be a ride. That's for sure. That's what I'm expecting.
I'll tell you what, as I said again, I said this before, but I want to say it here because it's the start of the season. Season 6 has my favorite music track in the show, so you've got that to look forward to.
Ooh!
It is a belter of a music track by Raymond Javadi. So yeah, when we get to that, we'll talk all about it. In the meantime, however, we have Season 6, Episode 1, which is called The Red Woman. Anything you want to say before we crack into it?
Oh, it's gonna be about the Red Woman, isn't it? And there'll probably be a double meaning.
Melisandre. Well, you got to remember that both Stannis and Jon died in the previous episode, and they're both connected to the Red Woman, so she must be in quite some peril.
Yeah, I would. I'd imagine this episode will have a very significant scene at the wall. If I was going to garner a prediction in terms of a season opener.
Well, the last time we saw the Red Woman, she was at the wall, and Jon got stabbed. That was the way we ended season 5, and people had to wait an entire year to see the next season after that cliffhanger. There was quite a bit of anticipation. I've actually got a funny story. Obviously, you know things about the future. I've got a funny story about that Kit Harington told. That happened between seasons 5 and 6. There's quite a few funny stories, but there's one in particular that's real funny. But when it becomes relevant, I'll tell you about it. The main reason why I want to get through the next 3 seasons is so we can watch House of the Dragon already.
Yeah.
Oh no!
I would just rather not.
Oh no!
And this place too, I also would rather not see. Yeah. Boo. Oh yeah, and also we've got Bran back this season at some point.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that, and the Iron Islands as well. Well, there's the corpse.
Yeah, it has to be still relatively recent. Oh yeah, he has no fucking clue what's happened. Fucking hell, he is very pale.
This is good meat. Feed it to the hounds.
Fucking hell. After what he just said. And just feed it to the dogs. Alright.
He obviously doesn't believe in the afterlife. And here's your favourite escape plot. Totally not injured at all.
No, they're fine. They just jumped. They jumped at the top of the castle and they were fine.
They landed on a trampoline.
This way is better.
Yeah, that would be very fucking cold. Insanely.
Yeah, that would be painful. Be like Steve Austin in the ice bath.
Especially when you dive in to a very icy water, you'd be hard to breathe properly.
It's clear the escape wasn't well planned, it was more spontaneous.
Yeah.
Jon is Lord Commander of Castle Black.
Not anymore. He's been fucking butchered. Does luring include just standing still and not at least making a run for it?
Yeah, isn't it more obvious that she's there if you're not running?
The idea of luring is that you're running away from where she is, you fucking idiot. That was so stupid. That was the stupidest thing he could have done. That was like in a game when your QTE is too like, oh, it's not gonna matter because they're here for some reason. Wow,
Yeah,
how
look-
lucky was that?
Look who's turned up.
Oh, so them not seeing the flame in the window didn't actually matter at all.
So it turns out she can kills Stannis and also rescues Sansa, so she gets both.
Him not running away to lure them away was like if you play a video game and your objective is to run away to lure, and your controller disconnected. But don't worry, they somehow appeared. But Chad Podrick there. This is so stupid.
Come on, Podrick. You're the saving grace of this scene.
Yeah. It's the one character at the moment I'm not annoyed at.
Yeah, because his stuff makes sense. Outside of being there, but you know what I mean.
Oh, yeah.
It's not Podrick's fault that the world has checkpoint markers for them.
They've got they got fast travel.
Yeah.
Man, this is all insanely stupid. How interesting would it have been if he ran away and they eventually met with her?
Best season ever, by the way.
Best season ever.
Now let's try this again without Littlefinger.
But somehow it's even in an even worse setting.
Was it worth killing Stannis to get this?
No. No.
Pledge to ask no service of you that might bring you dishonor. I swear it by the old gods and the new.
That was some nice acting, I will say.
Yeah, nice acting, but, not exactly earned right. Oh, yeah, remember fucking young Lannister died?
Marcella.
Yeah, Marcella. Oh, she's about to get delivered the news. Or she's already been sent by a letter. I don't know.
Well, she's already... What has she just been through recently?
Yes. A lot. She had to walk around through King's Landing naked and be shamed.
Oh, she's so excited.
She does not know. Oh, no.
She's like, oh my god, good news.
Oh, look, I'm happy. Oh, no. Okay, this could actually be the first good scene of the episode. Oh, God.
Oh, this is so painful.
Yeah.
Oh, goosebumps again.
Great acting. Great acting.
Oh my goodness. Oh, so good. As expected, King's Landing steals the show, just like last season. Oh no. I was having so much fun.
Yeah, there was a good couple, like 5 minutes. It's one of the cringe sisters as well.
Mean.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no.
You don't know your own people. They're disgust for you.
No.
Well, great person.
What a terrible scene. Weak men will not rule in Dawn. Okay, so how did they get on the ship?
I told you I'm not hungry.
They swam. Oh, that's what I tell. That's what I do when I go to try and assassinate someone. I tell them I'm going to murder them. I really hope he fucking murders the shit out of them. But he's not. He's going to be insanely butchered.
He's outnumbered by women. What?
Why would you turn your back on one of them, you fucking idiot?
You're a greedy bitch, you know that?
Oh, terrible. This is so bad.
When you're about to go and attack someone, why would you turn your back on one of them? They're clearly not honourable.
Oh, great. Here we go.
Studying the way rich people walk.
You walk as though the paving stones were your personal property. I used to steal from people like you when I was a boy.
It's a good thing you're not a boy. because you have no cause.
That's not funny.
Remember when that was like taken like seriously?
It's not funny.
She thinks you want to eat her baby. Valeria could be
God's sake. Play the Murray Goblin Eating Babies song.
Yeah, baby, we can eat. We can die in 3 days.
Isn't it funny how Tyrion wants to eat babies? Also, why is Misa written in English? In common tongue?
Oh, that was an issue in season 4. Or last season, I can't remember.
Season 4. And now they've doubled down.
That's the best way to ignore issues.
These two are such twats.
She did fly away on a dragon and not come.
Thank you, Tyrion, for letting me know how the city feels at the moment.
Yeah, no shit, you stupid little person. Fucking hell.
We can't fight an enemy we don't know.
Isn't this shit we already know?
Sons of the Harpy planned their attack in the fighting.
I feel like I'm reading the Marinese newspaper.
Why do you keep feeding me just like this thing, and the Sons of Harpy are this?
Varys, why are you talking about your little birds in public, you idiot?
Oh no, fire.
So this was done so that we would have another season where Daenerys doesn't go to Westeros.
We won't be sailing to Westeros.
Yes, no, she won't. Thanks for reminding us. Also, who the fuck did that, and how did no one see it? And why were there no guards? Why was no one guarding it?
Are all the guards just like gone?
No guards were guarding her ships.
Did they also ride off with the dragon? Yeah, because we don't actually know why she fucking flew away, and now we're having to ask questions for, to fill scenes.
Yeah, well, because in the books, there was a reason why she wanted to fly away. And we know why, because she tells us.
Did it. I'm just going to quickly sign on his death certificate right there.
With a quill and ink.
And I'm just going to put that on the wall, and we'll save that for later.
Oh, speaking of death certificate.
He's turning into a weeping angel. First he was choked to death by one, and now he's turning into one. I do like this kind of setting. It's quite... He's literally standing on top of it.
So you have to imagine, I'm just going to guess, this has to be a group of Dothraki that don't worship her and Khal Drogo. Or maybe they were purists only to Drogo and not her.
I guess. This is what we call filler.
Why do you find that funny?
we just whipped her.
Oh, that's not funny.
Fucking grandmas, that's very funny.
Great dialogue.
It'd be at least sort of cool she answered back in Dothraki.
I'd like to know something about the characters that isn't that. My sort of interpretation of Dothraki rape was not what this is. Like the way it's presented in season 1, it seems more like a normality as opposed to an enthusiastic endeavor, if that makes sense. This is not funny.
This
at
would
all.
be. I feel like if you change the dialogue around, that sort of thing can be funny.
It's just really awkward. My one character trait is rape. Okay, that is a good line, to be fair.
Mm-hmm. If only you said that from the beginning. Could have saved yourself so much. You could have done that as soon as you were captured, I guess. And if you can have them, they don't believe you. That's fine.
Yes, they don't like widows in this culture. They keep them imprisoned.
So sad. No, not my 2 coins. Okay, what we're doing.
But don't you get it, Callum? It's like when Luke Skywalker has the helmet on. She's training
Hey,
blind.
Why is that woman attacking a blind girl? Someone get the police.
It's a free city. You can do whatever you want. There's no police in Bravos. What are you talking about?
What a weird scene.
See you tomorrow.
What? What's that? Yeah, the old guy's like, you know what? I don't want her money. I think I'm alright. I'll wait for the next person. That's a cool shot, though, with the statue in the back.
Yeah.
What a fucking awful scene. This episode is, like, has... The opening couple minutes were okay. The stuff in King's Landing was good. Everything else has been fucking awful.
Yep.
Come on, end on a high note.
We'll give you food.
You could ask me some questions. Is that what you're going to do?
Definitely not taking this very seriously, are we? Just having a bit of fun.
There's always the red woman.
What's one redhead gonna do against 40 armed men?
She's going to suck them all into her vagina.
She probably could, to be fair.
Yeah, she has wicked powers.
If she has 40,000 knights, she can get 40,000 men. She is very depressed right now. She wants her Lord of Light. She feels lied to by her god.
You're going to strip in front of a mirror? The answer is yes.
What have I become now that I betrayed everyone I've ever loved, pushed them all away?
Oh no, the light went off on a necklace, and I feel like I know what's about to be shown, because I think I've seen shots of it before, so... She's very old.
Oh! Did we have to see that?
Yeah, but Connor, it was very shocking and striking.
Ugh!
Why? She's abandoning her god, I think. Or she's just getting to bed, I don't know. This scene is very confusing.
Oh my god, she's getting to bed!
Don't tell me that's the end of the episode. Oh my god. Oh my god. That isn't what I meant by ending on a high. TNT. You fucks.
Your initial thoughts on the Red Woman, Callum?
What an awful episode.
Yeah, it's so bad.
This is really bad. That was awful.
Yeah.
Literally one setting had good scenes and that was it. Everything else was like insanely awful.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's much like Mother's Mercy. Everything is really bad except for King's Landing.
Yeah. This is not a good start.
Nope.
This is a really bad start.
Really bad start. Best season ever, though. You know, apparently. Right, so let's start by talking about Jon Snow's corpse.
Yeah. He's very much dead.
Mm-hmm.
And so they decided to just leave him out there. He got discovered by Sir Davos. They put him in a room, barricaded themselves in, and now they're just stuck there.
So, okay. One question that some people might have that I can make a slight best faith inference for based on something from the last Jon chapter in the books. Some people will say, well, okay, so obviously, Callum, you know Jon's going to come back, right? You wonder, how is his corpse going to survive this long after being stabbed and bled to death?
Yeah.
So, basically, the best thing you can come up with is based on something at the very end of the books, and it's not established in the show, really, but you can say that much like Bran, Jon walked into Ghost, and they show that by having Ghost walk, like, scratch against the thing and then walk and go right next to his body, I guess. That's probably the best faith I can give as to why Jon could potentially be able to return after this point, because we have an entire episode where he's still dead. That's my idea, is that Ghost, obviously, even if that weren't the case, sits next to his body anyway, as a dog would. You know, some people theorize that John walked into Ghost. That's how he's able to survive. But it is really stretching it, isn't it? Like, that this guy is dead and eventually isn't. Because, you know, we've seen one resurrection before in the show in season 3, when Thoros of Myr resurrected Beric Dondarrion after the Hound killed him in that fight. But that was immediately, like, it was immediately after he died. Davos Seaworth, who was kind of the main character at the wall, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I guess so. Pretty much at this point. He's now kind of just stuck in very stationary. No real talk on the fact that his entire last couple years, what he's been fighting for, has kind of ended.
No talk about Stannis at all.
Nothing. There's been no reference to it at all, and there kind of really should be, considering this is very, very raw and recent.
He seems to care more about Jon than he does about Stannis.
He really should be quite distraught.
Yeah, but he's cracking jokes.
Not.
He's cracking jokes.
Like, if that scene would be good if, in terms of in real time, a month had passed or a couple weeks had passed. I don't know. And in a different setting.
Or if, you know, the Red Woman hadn't turned up at the wall yet and he didn't know what happened.
Yeah. It's almost as if maybe they did that a bit too early or something.
It's almost as if they shouldn't have killed Stannis at all.
Maybe that too, you know.
Yeah, but it was mainly...
Yeah.
It was the protagonist side was mainly Davos and Edison Tillett and the other lads.
Yeah, and they kind of are just stuck in a room for now. They've kind of been put on pause. But they, like they said, they have till... What, did they give a time though? They've got till tonight or whatever, I don't know. It was already night because the Red Woman was going to sleep, I guess.
So yeah, he's risking sneaking around to, I guess, do something about that.
I guess we'll find out what happens there, I guess.
Mm.
I very much expected more of a mutiny against Thorn than what we got.
Well, what we got was cracking a bit of jokes. I mean, as you say, right? Now, this is the scene that I want to really rip apart. This is the part that I really don't like. So, Alistair Thorne sits at the high table, confesses to all the Night's Watch that he killed Jon Snow, and also rats out his friends.
I did it.
And Bone Marsh.
It was me.
Yeah, and Bone Marsh, and Elthel Yarwick. We all did it. So he's not hiding it, he's just telling them outright, which, again, is very risky. And the only reason why this works is because when he explains himself, no one really outright says, fuck you. They all just go...
I was really expecting a character to go, fuck you, or something like that. How cool would it have been if a random character we've never seen before just stands up and says, go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
something like that.
And there's like, and Edison, and this also apparently is supposedly set up by the fact that Tillett said the only people we can trust are in this room. It's like, really? There's no one else that would see what Thorne has done and think, no, that is wrong.
Just these five people, and that's it.
Like, regardless of the fact that
two others, actually.
Even if they disagree with the wildlings coming through, killing your Lord Commander is not something to be taken lightly.
They don't address the fact that there would be some fucking people who are very much against killing the Lord Commander, even if they disagree with letting the wildlings go through. And the fact that, like, we literally had people at the beginning of the scene go, like, who opposed to it at first, but after he explained it, so, which even then I don't think is good enough as a reason to kill your Lord Commander.
All of these men fought alongside Jon Snow.
All of them. Jon Snow.
Yeah.
A good majority of them love Jon.
Again, that once again, as I said, and as I said, one of the main reasons why I love the scene where Jon gets killed in the books is that you have Night's Watch men that love Jon Snow forcing themselves to do it, which makes way
Now
more
no one
sense.
really cares.
Whereas now it's just like, it's only the people that hated him that killed him, and now the people that loved him are just like, well, yeah, maybe Ursa Thorne's got a point.
Maybe he's got a point. Yeah, you really needed a scene of a couple of people going, go fuck yourself, thinking that you take it into your own fucking hands. You selfish bastard.
Yeah, no conflict, and then we get a few jokes.
And then you
from-
have Thorne, what you do, you have Thorne kill that person on the spot.
Yeah.
I don't know.
anything.
Or you could even recreate the scene from last season when Jon executed someone. You know, you could have redone that, maybe, which would be kind of cool if you want to do a bit of cool factor to it.
So this makes Thorne look stupid, and it makes the Night's Watchmen feel like they have no like moral awareness.
Character. Yeah, very lame.
So yeah, that pissed me off.
Yeah.
And how interesting would it have been if there was an actual like mutiny within the Night's Watch after Jon's death? Wouldn't you expect that? As opposed to just a few guys in a room who were Jon's best friends, or just people that were on his side no matter what. I mean, remember, in the election, Jon got majority vote. Like, it's not just as simple as being anti-Wildling, pro-Wildling. There's also the fact of some people are anti-Wildling, but they're also pro-Jon Snow as well. And that is the part that's missing in this story. The people that are anti-Wildling and pro-Jon Snow. Because you can't... It's not... Wildlings and Jon Snow aren't one and the same. They're two different variables. And that, in a sense, is what made the good parts of Season 5's Wall story what they were, is because there were so many people that were anti-Wildling and pro-Jon Snow. But now that this has happened, it's just completely erased that, and now we've just got simplifying it in a not very good way. I don't have much more to say about the Wall, honestly. It was really, like, kind of dumb.
Strange.
And just sort of...
It's really strange.
Yeah, just kind of drained the life out of it. And the only other scene that we have to talk about is Melisandre stripping naked and being old and saggy.
She took it off and then went to bed.
I do think, in a sense though, I do like the symbolism of she sees light coming through the window and she thinks it's her God talking to her. That is something that does work.
What should have been like the emotional heart of the episode sort of just turned into like, so let's just put this on pause at the moment.
And Ollie, the guy who got the last stab on Jon, just stands there and says nothing and does
Looks
nothing.
very angry, just frowning.
Anyway, shall we talk about Winterfell?
Sure.
So we're starting with Miranda's corpse, and Ramsay does a nice little tribute to her. It's established that the Maester at Winterfell is very scared of him. He's a bit of a pussy. And then after Ramsay does a nice tribute, he says feed us to the dogs, which was very dark, but I guess it was in character. And then I think we actually did get a decent... I think the Roose Bolton scene was actually decent. It was sort of establishing, you know, fighting against Stannis is not the same as fighting against the Lannisters in the south, you know, because they will be at full force. And then the other part of it was saying, well, if you can't produce an heir, then you may be replaced as, you know, Lord of Winterfell in the future. I think that was a good setup. Not much to it, but I would say the Roose Bolton parts were good.
Yeah, I'd agree. I don't have much issues with that in particular.
The only thing I will say, though, is that they never talked about what Roose Bolton was doing during the last episode. He was just not on screen.
Well, you needs to know that.
Guess he was just looking after his wife.
I guess so.
How good would it have been in Mother's Mercy if they'd shown that she was giving birth during the fight, and that's why he had to not get part of it? Because him and the Maester had to stay away from the battle. Now let's talk about your favourite part of Winterfell. Let's talk about Theon, Sansa, Brienne, and Podrick. I'll let you have the floor for this one.
Just everything about it was really bad and stupid and just structurally was a mess once they got caught.
So let's start with the fact that they have no injuries from jumping off that castle top.
Not even a little bit. Not even a limp.
I find it hilarious. There was actually a bit of lampshading in here when Theon said, oh, she broke her leg and died.
because she should have.
I'm like, that's it's almost like they're pulling the finger at book readers, saying like, yeah, that's what happened to Jane Poole. It didn't happen to Sansa. Why? We're not going to explain. It just didn't happen.
Once his Reek Theon says, "I will lure them away so you can get away." But then what he actually decides to do is just to stand next to Sansa and say, "Oh, she died. Don't look round this corner. Don't do that." Like, surely you would just run away and then, yeah, you'd be caught pretty easily, like quickly, but at least Sansa would have a chance to, like, run. That's what should have happened.
Him standing there not moving makes it more obvious that he's hiding her.
Exactly. It's just like, why would you just stand there, run away, and then get caught?
Give her a chance to escape if she has to.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, Jesus Christ.
And then guess who turns up conveniently?
Oh, convenience night. Here to save the day. So that whole thing that happened in the finale of last season didn't actually matter at all. It literally meant nothing.
Yeah, because she not only killed Stannis, but she rescued Sansa too. She killed two birds with one stone.
Yeah, exactly. So that whole thing of her missing the flame in the window didn't actually matter at all.
Yeah.
Why even do it? What was the point? Literally, that has no meaning at all now. So not only did they not do the thing they should have done, they also made it redundant anyway.
Yep.
How fun! I love when that happens in stories.
Yep. The one line that was quite good though is that Theon said that Jon was Lord Commander, and then we know that he's dead. So that's actually quite clever to have that in there.
Yeah. They had an exchange, which was like, in a better scene, this would be good.
It was like a poor man's version of the season 2 scene with Catelyn and Brienne.
Oh yeah, because that was like in a setting that wasn't riddled with fucking issues up the wall.
Yeah, that their escape from, I think it's called Bitterbridge, actually made sense in that after Renly died.
Just a lot of things surrounding that scene weren't infected by the goodness.
Oh, I missed season 2. That was so good. Good times.
I missed the good parts of this show. This is
To be fair, I will alleviate that stress by talking about the good parts. Let's talk about Cersei and Jaime.
Oh yeah, they had the best scene in the entire episode by like a long distance.
Mm-hmm.
Like Hendry actually, her whole reaction to being how excited she was to see her daughter after years, not having seen her since she was like very little, and was sent off to Dawn, to then discover she had been killed and died. That one shot of her smiling to devastated was really, really good.
Yeah, it was powerful seeing the casket come back, and that scene she has with Jaime after, like about the witch's prophecy, and then Jaime says, "Fuck prophecy, fuck fate. We're the only ones that matter."
Yeah, and other things that could be like really cringe and stuff, but it wasn't.
No, it was really well acted. The dialogue was wonderful. The characterization worked. It was a beautiful scene. Definitely the highlight of the episode.
Yes, definitely.
Lovely stuff. And referencing the first episode of the last season, so sort of tying it together in a good way.
Minutes.
Yeah, we had one other scene in King's Landing. It was set to Unella, Marjorie, and the High Sparrow. She wants to know what's up with her brother Loras, because that's the one she actually cares about.
Of course.
And the High Sparrow just sort of brushes under the rug and says, "I'm actually here to talk about your husband, Tommen," who she clearly doesn't care about as much, anywhere near as much as Loras.
This was also a good scene.
There was that moment of emotional manipulation where he saw her scar behind her ear, like the wound from Unella. Mm-hmm. And he said, "I'll have a word to her. She can be quite overzealous."
Yeah, he's always like really good. There's never a scene where he is like not impressive.
And I love the bit of, I have nothing to confess. And he says, so you believe that you are pure, without sin? And then she says, no.
Yeah, because it's always one. What is like a coin? It's one side and the other. That's when the good thing stopped.
That is when the good thing stopped, because right after that we had Dawn, and we had an absolutely...
It was like a really, really good 6 minutes.
Yep. Right after that, we go to Dawn, the Water Gardens. We have an absolutely appallingly shit scene. Like, this scene was unbelievably bad. D&D saw that people didn't like Dawn in Season 5, so instead of continuing it in a meaningful way, they decided to kill it off all at once. So not only instead of having Prince Duran be the snake in the grass, they have him be an actual, just useless guy in a chair that does nothing.
Yeah, but Connor, he's a weak man.
Yeah, according to Ilaria, that means that all of the people hated him because he didn't get revenge for Oberyn's death and all the other things like Elia Martell. Somehow Tyene Sand is able to stab Ariohota from the back, and he dies. They stab the Raven Messenger. She stabs bloody Duran, and he bleeds on the floor. And then somehow the Sand Snakes were smuggled onto Prince Tristane's ship. Somehow they went all the way to King's Landing. I don't know how they did this. What the fuck? And then there was also cringe dialogue. You are a greedy bitch. No weak men will rule in Dorne. Instead of actually writing a good story, they decided to just blow it up. Just nuke it and get rid of it.
When was the last time you left this palace?
It's genuinely a just terrible scene. Remember in the end of the last season, she was on her knees crying, you know, understanding the promise she had to make. There was an actual, like, even though there was a lot of adversity, there was an actual bond between them as family. It wasn't just hatred, and now she just kills him out of nowhere. You have become complacent and weak. Absolute rubbish.
Uber plunge.
Yeah, and then Prince Tristane just turns his back to Obara and gets stabbed immediately.
So stupid. Is it like fucking? I mean, he doesn't have one anymore. It was literally smushed by a blade. But have a fucking brain about you.
Jesus Christ. I don't have much more to say about Dawn. It's very simply bad. What a waste of great actors. Like, Alexander Segui is a great actor, but his character is really bad. Moving on to more bad stuff, we have Tyrion and Varys being annoying and cringe. Because you have no cook. She thinks you want to eat babies. Why are we wasting time talking about that?
Yeah, but comedy. We need some comic relief.
Just, why are we wasting time with this shit? Why? Then they explain that they do a big exposition dump that the people of Meereen are wondering what to do without their queen and why she's left. They say that there's enemies that want to kill them hiding, and it shows a camera shot of behind a wall where they're hiding, assumedly part of the Harpy.
How we plan their attack in the fighting pits very carefully.
Yep, and then they just walk up to the docks, and
which
all
means they take orders from someone.
Yep. And they will, so that means they're teasing, there must be someone behind the Harpy, and it's not his dog because he's dead. And then they walk up to the dock, and all the ships are on fire somehow. So all the Harpy,
all the boats have been set on fire, so they can't leave.
Yep, the Harpy set it on fire. There were no guards to stop them or sight it or tell them.
They find her ring on the floor. Unfortunately, she's been taken very far away.
Yeah, so... yeah, Tyrion and Varys learn that her ships are on fire, so they can't leave soon. Jorah
Fortunately, she decided to say, oh yeah, I know I was the wife of Khal Drogo. Unfortunately, she didn't decide to do that earlier.
Yeah, instead we had to get jokes about how they're going to rape her white pussy hair or something like that.
Yeah, because that's, like, really funny.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't think of jokes that are better than that. I think Game of Thrones Season 6 Episode 1 generally peaked when it came to comedy.
Mm-hmm. If I'm going to point out some good parts of this, so we have, with Daario and Jorah, there's the mention of, when I grow old, I'll become like you, if you grow old, and then he looks at his grayscale. That's quite good. And then also the other part I will mention is the idea of the Dosh Khaleen, the fact that when Khals die, their Khaleesi's go to some hut to be imprisoned for the rest of their life is really fucked up, and it's interesting. But that is taken from the source material, which is really good. The Dothraki were utterly ruined in this. The Dothraki, all of their appearances before this episode, the Dothraki were really well done, but in this episode, they were shit.
They talked about the top 5 things in life that are great.
Fuck.
In another show, that'd be funny.
With different, like, not these characters, like a different kind of character.
That could be, like, if you imagine something like, I don't know, In-Betweeners, or, like, a British comedy, I can imagine something like that being really funny.
I don't see why, like, it's funny for the Dothraki to do it. It doesn't, like, the problem with making these characters do it...
Because sex is cool.
The problem with having these kind of characters make these kind of jokes is it makes me take them a lot less seriously and sort of believing their existence. Because it's so ill-fitting of their characters to talk this way. It makes it feel like a parody as opposed to an actual show. Yeah, I don't have much more to say. It's just really bad. It's just really bad television.
I really want to get across that Daenerys just didn't decide to try and speak Dothraki to her, you know, the people capturing her in any way before getting to...
That entire journey.
Yeah. She didn't just say, I was married to Khal Drogo, because she does it here and they believe her, by the way. They just do. So why didn't she try it earlier? You can literally have it that those guys didn't believe her or something, and then, you know, that would at least fall in line. I don't know, just...
There's a bit where Daenerys says, I'll offer you ships back to Meereen, blah, 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 let's escort. It's interesting that she was quite cordial after being threatened with rape. Like, that's an interesting thing. The reason why they had that line is so they could set up, actually, no, you're going to the Dot Khaleen. Let me talk about the character traits we have here. The men like to rape women. The women are jealous of women that they think are more beautiful than them.
Cut off the head.
The men are scared of Khal Drogo, and they honor the ruling of don't lay with another Khal's wife. And they send Khaleesi to prison. So like 2 of those things are good, and then the rest of it is bad.
But then the episode gets good again, right? The next scene was so good.
Well, that's when we go to Braavos with Arya and the waif.
Yeah.
What can I even say about this scene?
I like it when blind people are abused.
Is this like the most empty, shallow scene we've ever had in Game of Thrones so far?
Yes.
Nothing happened. Absolutely fucking nothing.
She got beat up because she's blind. And, yeah.
What did we learn?
It had that... Yeah, we learned nothing. But it had that one good shot, though. So it had that.
Yeah.
The statue in the background was cool.
Oh, man. Pitiful stuff. This was such a hollow episode on the whole.
Yeah. Nothing happened.
Like, there's all these people that go out and say, oh, the first episode of each Game of Thrones season, nothing happens, right? And I disagree with that for the first...
Generally, nothing happened.
Like, I disagree with that for the first 5 seasons. Even season 5, episode 1, which isn't a good episode necessarily, it is actually full of stuff that happens. This, however, this was very hollow.
I've never felt so empty watching an episode of Game of Thrones before.
Yeah.
Because at least with the bad episodes, and there are episodes that are worse than this in their entirety, and it affects more, this is the first case of an episode that literally meant nothing.
Anyway, this episode was met with very positive reviews, apparently.
Why?
It's praised for its humor.
No way nowadays people would rate this highly.
Depends who you ask.
Yeah, true, but I guarantee you the majority of people were like, that episode wasn't great.
I always thought this episode sucked. It was praised for its humor.
The humor sucked. It was awful.
It was so bad.
It was really cringe.
You're no longer a man because you have no cock.
Weak men.
That's definitely not.
Weak.
That line is definitely not aged poorly, right? Brienne's reunion with Sansa and Theon, and the revelation regarding Melisandre's true age. Apparently, it was the highlights, according to reviewers.
She's really old, guys.
She's really old and has really saggy
That's
breasts.
really significant. That's significant for reasons.
It is very, very important that Game of Thrones viewers have to look directly at Melisandre's saggy old breasts. It's very important.
Yay, and her go to sleep.
Yeah. It's so funny how they have, like, that really intense music over her going to bed.
Yeah. That was the end of the episode.
Yeah.
That closed off the opening episode of the season. After the last episode, which ended on Jon dying. What a disaster.
The Red Woman balanced its ongoing mysteries with a bit of humour and featured Sansa's touching reunion with Brienne of Tarth. One that was filled with tension throughout. It said about re-establishing peace.
There was no tension. What? Fuck off. There was no fucking tension. Where was there tension? You can't even argue there was tension in King's Landing because nothing in terms of like what has happened, and now it was characters reacting to what has happened. There was no tension at all in this episode.
Here we go. Charlie Jane Anders. Now we've got a good take. Calls the Dawn part the absolute worst thing in the episode, criticizes it for giving Doran Martell a grand total of 10 minutes screen time before suddenly killing him off. Given that he is alive in the novels and a major subplot from the books, that was simply feigning a desire for peace while planning to betray the Lannisters was not introduced at all before his departure.
He's just a guy in a chair.
Betrayed for complacency, apparently.
Because he's weak. And a weak man at that.
This was such a cowardly way to get out of doing Dawn in Season 6, wasn't it?
Just quickly, press the eject button. Instead of going, maybe we should make the storyline actually good, we decided no.
Also, here's a good point. Critical of how it was altering the female characters in Dawn, saying that it changed from the novels to be the kind of violent, scantily clad woman that emerged when creators want to pay lip service to feminism but don't have the time or inclination to create actual three-dimensional female characters.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you...
It's so interesting that the best part of this episode was a complex female character who has gone through so much, and we see a reaction to a traumatic event happen to her. And then we have a scene where other female characters are the most basic fucking characters that we've ever seen in the show. Yeah,
well, the Dawn POV in the main Dawn POV in the books, Ariane Martell, who is Prince Doran's daughter, is a very complex three-dimensional character, and she's got a great little story with a big twist in it, and she's a very interesting person with so many different facets and personality traits and, you know, quips and quirks and all that. This, however, this is try-hard cringe Xena warrior princess standing on men with my high heels, like, squashing their balls kind of feminism.
Yeah. Fuck him. That weak man.
Written by David Benioff and Dan Weiss, who now seemingly have run out of books and are doing it all themselves. What do we have to say for their efforts?
Boo.
They know how to write Cersei and Marjorie and Jaime in this season, at least, or so far, in this episode. They know how to do the King's Landing stuff. Everything else, absolutely not. Man, because at least with Season 5, we had King's Landing and The Wall. Now we've only got King's Landing.
And soon that's going to go up in flames very soon.
Oh yeah, there's a point in Game of Thrones where King's Landing becomes the worst part of the show. Just you wait till that happens. Yeah, I thought Dave and Dan did a piss poor job with this.
Oh, they absolutely pissed all over this episode.
Yeah. Also, I just want to make a mention about the Marine stuff. Again, how much more interesting would this be if Barristan Selmy was part of it? But I guess he's the only person that would have been paying attention to whether or not her ships were on fire, outside of her armies full of Dothraki and Unsullied. You know, all the people that follow her. Countless amount of people. Rubbish. Absolute rubbish. What about all the sellswords?
Absolute piss.
The sellswords and the sailors and the people of Meereen. The direction was by Jeremy Podeswa. I would say he did a solid job. I think there were some good shots in here for sure. The shot of Cersei when Marcella first arrives is probably the best one.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, the shot with the big guard soldier at Braavos in the background. You've got Melisandre looking in the mirror. That was quite well done. I don't know. I'm sort of losing all will to speak on it. I will say, actually, I have mentioned before that this season has a higher budget than season 5, and you may have noticed that the Winterfell, not kitchen, but the sort of dining area has better lighting than it did before. You can actually see their faces properly, so that is nice. Do you have anything else to add for direction?
Overall, it was solid, as it normally is.
And this is so depressing how little we have to say about this.
Because this episode is one of the most hollow episodes we've watched.
The intensity of the music at the cliffhanger with Melisandre getting to bed, I was like, this is supposed to be intensity because of the... Like, it's supposed to be intensity because it's revealing to us that she's old. But it's just strange watching her go to bed with that music. Also, there is an inconsistency with this. So you notice that she turns old when she takes her necklace off? There's a scene from season 4, episode 7, where she's in a bath and Stannis' wife is there, and she has no necklace on.
Oh dear.
Some people headcanon it as she drinks a potion in that scene, and that's what it's like a temporary replacement for it. But that's stretching, I think. Love a good inconsistency.
Oh yeah, love it.
Would you like to listen to some tracks from the episode?
Why not?
Okay. First track is called Feed the Hounds. Definitely fits the terror of being chased by hounds, I'd say.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, as you said before, Raymond Javadi, the most consistent highlight of the show.
Yep. Very good stuff. Very
good.
Intense.
The second track we're going to listen to is called The Red Woman. Now that was really good, I think.
Oh yeah, that was an excellent track.
It very much echoes the story that, like, what she's going through at the moment. Not only the loss of Stennis, but also her sort of severed relationship with the Lord of Light as well. The way it sounds so sad, the way it doesn't have that triumph anymore, and how in the kind of despair she's in. It was a very good twist on the theme, I think. Yeah, I think my favorite element of it is that the part that usually has, you know, when it's Stannis and Melisandre's theme from season 2, the part where it comes in with sort of his half of it, it usually comes in quite strong. And it's quite loud. Whereas in this version, it sounds very sad and broken. She's now experiencing the horror of the man she thought was supposed to be on the throne is dead. And also, she's now seen Jon dead too, and she feels like the Lord of Light's lying to her and misleading her, and she feels betrayed by her god. And she's very she's in a state of confusion. I think the actress actually did a really good job in this episode of portraying where her character is at in terms of what she's lost and where now, you know, she was so confident in her faith, and now it's all been taken from her. So yeah, I think this music really emphasizes her sort of what she's thinking, I guess you could say. You know, actual subtlety, as opposed to just telling me that telling me things about the Marinese people.
Really, like I said, I think the second half was like really intense, and the sort of different sounds and instruments and vocals that were used in it really, I think, really highlighted that intensity, which to great effect. It was a really, really good rendition of that theme. It was really, really good.
It actually got less viewers than the first episode of season 5.
That's interesting.
Gone down ever so slightly. Give your conclusion and rating out of 10 for The Red Woman.
Piss. It was very piss. There was 6 minutes of non-piss. But the rest of it was absolutely piss. So I'm giving this a 3 out of 10. It's really bad. This episode was really bad. A lot of things didn't work, and a lot of things were cringe, and a lot of things were just utterly insane. Yeah.
So, a bit like the structure of Mother's Mercy, the good parts are in King's Landing and the bad parts were everywhere else. The difference is, the good stuff in Mother's Mercy is better, but the bad stuff in Mother's Mercy is also worse. And that kind of evens it out, which means just like Mother's Mercy, I'm also going to give this a 3 out of 10. Very bad episode. Not looking good. Not a good way to start the season. At all. You sound deflated.
I'm very. This episode was awful.
Next time is Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 2, which is called Home. Do you think Jon's going to remain a corpse?
Yeah, I'm wondering how long that's going to go on for.
Imagine if it's the whole season, he just sits there.
Yeah, it won't be, but because I know by season 7 he eventually does leave. Yeah, I'm not sure. I actually don't know how long it'll be until they bring him back to life.
What about King's Landing? Surely you got something to say about that.
Oh, there's some really good character work there. That's very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing more scenes between.
We need Tom. I feel like we need a Tommen scene next episode. I need a Tom. Yeah, I think the King needs to appear in his show. I guess we'll see you all next time for Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 2, Home. I bid you adieu, a goodbye, and a good night. Bang.